Out of Left Field is brought to you in part by Coordinated Health Hazleton Campus. Welcome back to Left Field. America has fallen in love with curling, but for many it's a long-distance relationship that we only spend time with every 4 years. It doesn't have to be that way, and Olympic curling gold medalist Tyler George is trying to change that. Curling made its Olympic debut in 1998. 20 years later, around 1.6 million Americans stayed up late to watch the United States men's curling team win Olympic gold. The sport continues to grow in the U.S. with more momentum than a stone pushed with power and precision on the ice. Tyler George, a member of the U.S. gold medal team, thinks he knows why.
I think there's a certain curiosity that people have about it because it's different than anything else that they've seen, and if you get a little bit of background on it, it's like chess on ice. So besides the fact that it's a thinking man's game, it's extremely physical, way more than people realize, and anybody that has gone to try it since seeing it at the Olympics has found that out in a hurry. But I think also people identify with the players. They look at him as the everyman type of guy. And we're mic'd up every game we play, so when you can hear everything that somebody says while they're competing, I think you kind of feel like you get to know them a little bit. So I think people really identified with us, and we tried to capture that by keeping ourselves accessible on social media even during the events. And I think people really had a connection with us that they felt more than maybe other Olympic athletes.
Tyler George's life is much different than mine. He basically grew up in a curling club in Minnesota with his family. His sister was on the U.S. Olympic curling team in 2006, he won an Olympic curling gold medal in 2018, and also this happened.
It's like a totally different life. It's very strange. You know things have taken a turn when you get off the ice after the gold medal game, and the CEO of USA Curling hands you his phone and says somebody wants to congratulate you. And it's Dave Grohl from Foo Fighters and Nirvana. Saying that they just landed in Brazil to do a show, but they were watching and really proud of us, and they'd like to meet us on tour sometime. And then you start thinking about it like maybe this is a little bit bigger than what we thought it was originally. And getting pep talks from guys like Mr. T and Dan Jansen, and just seeing that curiosity that people have turn into a real interest and enthusiasm, even in the celebrity world. It's something that I think we're proud of, that we've capitalized on that too and brought those people in before.
George has been on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, he hung out with Questlove, and attended the ESPYs. I only have a limited knowledge of curling. I've never been on the Sam Lassant Show, let alone The Tonight Show, and the last award I won was for the Hazleton Fun Fest scooter race. Even with all those differences, when I met George at this meet and greet and learn to curl event in Wilkes-Barre with the Anthracite Curling Club, I felt like we could grab a beer and talk for hours.
There's plenty of partying on tour, and in any club you go into, you'll probably be able to have a beer with the local club curler or the Olympic champion. And I think that's a great thing about the appeal of our sport. Besides that, we do appear to be the everyman. We're more than happy to sit down with a first-timer and talk about the game, have a beer with them, and explain that whole chess on ice phenomenon too. So it's very multifaceted, but that community of people that you meet, there's just nothing like it in anything else I've seen.
Beer is part of the curling social culture. It's a tradition for both teams to get together and have a drink after a game. So while George and I didn't actually have a beer on this day, we did talk about it.
I think it's become more of a craft beer community now too. Curlers tend to be old school with their drinking habits, I think. You might have seen more Bud Light, even Pabst and stuff like that in the past. But more and more clubs now have a pretty diverse beer selection, along with the requisite liquors, of course, too. I think that part of the social aspect of the sport has been helped by the craft beer push, too.
Do you have a favorite?
It's only out for a couple months a year, but Christmas Ale from Great Lakes Brewing out of Cleveland that's my all-time favorite beer. So I stock up on that every December, January when I get a chance.
I wasn't the only one picking up on the everyman vibe.
With Tyler, he was awesome. I mean, you couldn't meet a more real person, down to earth. Some athletes are, they get a little big-headed. No, this guy's great. He's real people.
This everyman quality has to come in handy as George visits curling clubs all across the country to help grow the sport.
I really thought that this was an opportunity we couldn't pass up after I retired after the Olympic Games. I felt like I could do a lot more for the sport off the ice than on it right now. And to have somebody from the gold medal team as a spokesman for the sport, somebody that can act as an ambassador and travel around and promote the game as much as I've been able to do, I think it's going to do a lot for the sport moving forward. And it's a very fulfilling thing to have a lifelong dream be realized and then to be able to parlay that into something that really helps the sport that you love.
Today he enjoys some snacks with the Anthracite Curling Club, talks shop, and then hits the ice.
It's great having Tyler here because we get to hear stories about him playing in the Olympics and what it was like growing up, because he grew up with curling up in the Midwest. And for the last hour or so, he's been helping us with our deliveries because we're people in Wilkes-Barre curling, so we don't get a lot of high-level curlers coming through very often to help us, give us pointers to help straighten out our deliveries.
All right, so instead of just going right away, I want you to do this. Push the rod forward, and then go back, and then kick out.
So when you tried this today, you just picked it up. How's it going? Do you like curling? How would you describe it? What's it like?
It's fun.
You ever meet an Olympic gold medalist before?
No.
No? What's it like as he's watching you and kind of telling you what to do? What advice did you get today?
To kind of spring back on the hatchet, I think it's called.
Did that help? I mean, did it help a little bit?
I think so.
Just as I was getting ready to leave, a glint of gold caught my eye. I stepped back on the ice to get some shots of the Anthracite Curling Club posing with George and an Olympic gold medal. The Olympic medal is really cool, but so is Marina Tardella's. She's so proud of her medal that after George suggests they trade medals for a photo, Tardella kindly asks that they trade back and take one more.
I am very proud to represent somehow Anthracite Curling Club because this is so much fun. This is a sport that we all love, and win a medal here is like a win a medal in the Olympics. So yeah, we won this with my team in 2014, and we won in 2013, and also spring and summer league. So we're very proud of that too. And having Tyler today, I mean, it's amazing. This is our dream too.
In late February of 2018, Tyler George, John Schuster, Matt Hamilton, John Landsteiner, and Joe Polo won Olympic gold and made history. What followed was a whirlwind that not every man has or will experience. But at the end of the night,
we had so much media stuff we had to do. Oh my God, yeah. I think the game ended about 6 o'clock local time out there, and we didn't get to see friends and family until about 1:30 in the morning. So we were plenty busy, but I mean, when Mike Tirico, is waiting for you to come sit on his couch, and NBC Sports gets you in the studio, and Good Morning America, I think, had us on because of the time change. It was morning back home. Then everything has to wait for a bit. But once we finally did get to see friends and family, just before bar closed across the street, the women's hockey team was there celebrating too. They were at our gold medal game. And had been celebrating for 2 days before that. So when we walked in the building and those guys were already there, things took a turn pretty quick, and it was a hell of a night.
now George is cashing in on the gold and helping curling grow in the United States. If you run into him at a Learn to Curl event near you, don't be afraid to say hi. Up next, the Hazleton Area High School swimming teams take over the show. Out of Left Field is brought to you in part by Coordinated Health, Hazleton Campus. Hey everyone, I'm Ken Cara, and thanks for spending some time with me out in left field where local sports look a little different. The Lackawanna College Athletic Department recently added a new sport, eSports. Video games have exploded out of arcades and into our everyday lives, and now student athletes are reaping the benefits of putting up high scores. There's a lot going on this screen. Woven into the flashes of color is a complex world filled with dynamic characters. Welcome to the video game Overwatch.
Overwatch is an interesting game. It's small teams. In Overwatch, it's 6v6. And each person, as opposed to just being a random person with a gun, you pick a character. And there's about 20-some characters in Overwatch. and each of them has their own weapon and their own abilities and their own strengths and weaknesses.
What about the game did you kind of fall in love with?
More than just like the actual gameplay is the lore of it. I like the inclusivity and the diversity of characters. A lot of their backgrounds, like, I mean, I know they're just video game characters, but a lot of them, like, they really are just heartfelt to me. And then the actual gameplay aspect of it, it's fun. You have to work with a team. You're not by yourself. And it's nice. There's camaraderie to it. You make a lot of friends too in the process just jumping into team chat.
There's a lot going on your screen right now. Woven into all the movement and noise is a complex world filled with dynamic characters. Welcome to eSports at Lackawanna College. Most video games start with a little tutorial to get you used to the controls. The eSports program at Lackawanna College came with a 16-page proposal.
First and foremost, it is a new avenue for a different type of student and a different type of student athlete, you know. For instance, I mean, in here, the last two guys on the left there, they're baseball players, but they're technically dual athletes now because they play on the Rocket League team. But aside from them, it gives other kids that may be introverted, may not have the physical ability or stature to try out for a football team, but they're still interested in that camaraderie, that sense of community and culture. And this is something that a lot of kids are passionate about, you know, and it's starting to chip away at those stigmas of, oh, you're just a basement dweller, video game nerd, you know. We have tons of great kids in here, you know, and it's opening the door for potentially the first collegiate co-ed sport, you know. We have Paige in here, she's one of our players. We have, I think, half a dozen girls that are coming for the fall to join up. So it's really just an all-inclusive new outlet for students to be student athletes, you know, and it's just really cool. That was a big selling point.
How many of you have been told by your parents that's enough video games for the day? Or how many of you parents have told your kids that's enough video games for the day? Well, things are evolving. Being good at video games can now fetch you some scholarship money. Lackawanna College is a member of the National Association of Collegiate eSports. NACE is a nonprofit that has built up a group of over 125 schools from across the country. NACE helps with things like scholarships and aid for student athletes.
My mom never used to like me gaming, so she would always try to restrict my hours. She would always be like, all right, you can only play for like an hour or two a day, and for me that's not enough. For me, I need more hours so I can get better, but it was more so that she just wanted to limit my hours because she felt like I wasn't going to get anywhere with gaming. Back in 2015, I was sitting in class and I saw that, oh, this one university finally has esports, and I thought that was really interesting. Kind of showed it to my mom and she kind of blew it off. But now that I'm on a team, she's proud of me and she, sees that it's actually paying off.
This new video game world includes players of all backgrounds and ages.
Everybody's a gamer, whether they know it or not. If they're playing, hardcore like PC Master Race like these kids, or if they're playing, Candy Crush on their phone. Everybody likes video games to a certain extent. And I think that's just, certain people recognize that, and it finally, I think just the ability to record gameplay and present it in a format that allows it to become more, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a spectator sport, like football or basketball. It's easier now, and we finally have the technology that allows that to happen. And because there's always been a market, like sitting down with your friends and playing video games, and it was almost as enjoyable playing them to just sit there and watch them do it. And now with the YouTube streamers and with the professionals now doing it, filling the Barclays Center twice.
Robert Eskra is a criminal justice professor at Lackawanna College and the Overwatch team coach. He points out that Overwatch tournaments have been on ESPN. In doing research for this story, I found an article from Syracuse University that states esports will be the second most watched sport in the United States by 2021. Their info comes from Activate, a technology consulting firm. Regardless of how you interpret all this information, here's the bottom line. There's big money to be made in the world of esports, and there's some big dreams in this room.
I'll try my hand and see if, maybe I can get on a pro team. There is someone around this area that is actually on a pro team, Team Liquid, and his name is Elige, and he's a CSGO player. He's from Carbondale. So kind of seeing that someone so close to this area is actually a pro kind of gives me the motivation to, okay, I can actually do this if I put my mind to it.
Edwin Acosta just mentioned a pro named Elige. His real name is Jonathan Jablanowski, and he's from Carbondale. He plays Counter-Strike Global Offensive as a pro for Team Liquid. Who's the next pro from NEPA? The Lackawanna College team is just getting off the ground, but they have big plans to help grow the sport. They want to help start an eSports conference made up of local colleges with teams. The Falcons are planning summer camps for kids, and they would also like to play some of their games at a theater on campus so fans could watch the action in person. With all this going on, is there still time for video games to be fun?
Absolutely, and that's almost necessary, because if it stops being fun, then they're not going to perform at their best. So there was a point last semester where it had gotten, and we had been like practicing and scrimmaging other schools, and towards the end of the semester, especially with finals coming up and the winter break coming up, they were burnt out. And so we just did kind of like a for fun tournament within the team. But in addition to that, I mean, they're all gamers, so they also enjoy other games, but they're playing something that they can have fun with, but also still uses the same skill set that they're going to use in the game they play competitively.
Everyone we talked with on the team seems to be having a ball.
Yeah, I was super excited when I found out about it. I ended up joining about halfway through last semester, just because of like scheduling conflicts and such. And as soon as I joined, like it was the best thing ever. Like this is why I'm excited. I mean, I love my school, but this is like a reason for like just being like, yeah, life, you know?
Obviously, video games have evolved, like Mario when he finds a mushroom. But while things keep changing, deep down inside of all of us,
if I could go back in time and tell like 12-year-old me what I'm doing now, I get to feel him. He's excited. He's always jumping up and down every day. I'm excited to go to work because this is what I get to do.
We're the eSports guys.
We're eSports. We're like the...
Coming up next, an Olympic curler visits an ice rink in our area, and we talk about gold medals, growing the sport, and beer. Out of Left Field is brought to you in part by Coordinated Health Hazleton Campus. Thanks for coming back. This next story started with a simple email and spiraled out of control. I lost the handle quickly, but luckily I wasn't alone out there on the water. 3, 2, 1. We're here at the Hazleton Area High School. We're doing a story on swimming. I'm with Marina O'Hara and Paul Flowers. Marina, you got 1,000 points. Oh, I messed up your name. Maggie Anna. Sorry. Did I do that last year too?
I didn't even notice it. I just saw Maggie start laughing. I was like, what are you doing? I don't know if I should stop.
Here we go. As you can see, I'm a little stressed. It's been a long winter sports season. I really could use some help with doing this Hazleton Area swimming story, so I did ask Paul Flowers and Maggie Yanis, so sorry, to help me out. I emailed your coach and I was like, hey Michelle, what's going on? I saw Paul hit like 2,000 points in swimming. That's crazy. The boys are going to win a division championship. I'm sure there's some girls we should cover. She emailed me back like a paragraph of all the good stuff that's been happening with the Hazleton Area High School swim team. So I asked if you guys could help me today. You're going to help me cover the team. I appreciate that. But let's talk about some of your accomplishments first. Paul, let's start with you. 2,000 points, man. Getting that accomplishment, what was it like? Was it in your sights, and how excited? Are you still excited about it?
Well, I mean, when I hit 1,000 points my sophomore year, 2,000 points seemed really possible, and it's been a goal of my parents and coaches for a little bit. But we kind of try to keep it in the back of our minds and not really worry about it. Just take day by day and just kind of stay focused, one practice at a time.
You said that was a goal of your parents and coaches. Was it a goal you set out to, or you're just like, hey, you know, if I get there, I get there? Or
I mean, I didn't want to stress about it. I didn't want it to affect my training each day and each race. I just kind of thought, you know, it'd be really cool if I hit it, and I did it. It really hasn't sunk in yet.
And all the work you put in, we've talked about Hell Week in the past here with the Hazleton Area swimming team, and right out of classes though, you guys have to get here. You'll notice you're all ready for practice. You're still in your clothes from school and that. So is it like kind of crazy? You got to get here, get changed fast?
Yeah, I mean, with any varsity sport, like obviously it's time consuming. It's sometimes demanding, and you have to know how to juggle your schoolwork and this and that, and like a little bit of a social life.
Maggie, you hit 1,000 points last year. What was it like seeing your teammates go through it this year, getting to it? Do you know where you are now? How many points you have?
I actually have no clue.
Do Paul's parents know how many points?
I don't even think my parents know what I'm at. I mean, if they do, let me know. That would be great information to know. But probably somewhere, I'm hoping around 1,700 at like the end, so closer to 2,000, but I don't know if I'm gonna actually hit that milestone. But seeing everybody else get it this year and seeing like Alyssa Platukis get it and Marina O'Hara, Tony Goulstone, Brandon, like everybody, like it's just such a good experience to see people with the same smile on their face that like I know I had, and it's just a great feeling.
So let's get to know you guys. I want you to talk with your teammates as well. Paul, senior year, what are you planning to do, man? You gonna keep swimming? Do you know what you want to do? You gonna do college?
Yeah, I've recently committed to Clarion University. I'll be studying pre-physical therapy, and I'll be swimming there as well.
Nice, man. And how about you?
I'm going to Bloomsburg University right now to study communications with the minor in poli-sci.
Awesome. I was gonna say, do either of you want to go for communications? And what do you want to do with communications?
I'm not really sure yet. I mean, this is fun. I love talking to people. That's my favorite thing to do, is to talk to people. So
you see how today goes, interviewing people?
Yeah, we'll see how this goes. I'm here with Alyssa Platukis and Brandon DeGrossa, who both recently received their 1,000 points. Alyssa, what did that first feel like for you?
I mean, coming in as a freshman, I really didn't expect to get it because I never competitively swam before that.
Brandon, how did it feel like for you?
I just started swimming 2 years ago, and honestly, I came in and I was like, yeah, this isn't for me. Like, I am not a swimmer. I've been a baseball player, track player, basketball, soccer, all of the above. And I came in and I was like, no, I'll never hit 1,000. And I've just worked so hard throughout the years, and it's just come to me.
Is it true that you weren't even going to swim when you got to high school?
Yeah, I came to one polo conditioning. I think it was my 8th grade year. And I remember they had me swim, and I thought I was a good swimmer until they made me do that. And I remember I was like, it was about a 50 and I could not breathe anymore. So then we started doing the actual water polo stuff, and I was doing that. It's like, I don't think I like this. I was so used to basketball. I played that from kindergarten to 8th grade. And I just didn't think I liked it, but I was like, I'll try 1 year of it. And so I did that, and I really loved it freshman year. So I decided to pick swimming over basketball for the winter.
So most of our time is spent here, but after high school and after swimming for here is over, do you have any other plans for college or your future?
Currently, I don't know what I'm doing, but I would like to go to the University of Scranton to study biomathematics. I got accepted recently, and I'm not sure if I'm going there yet, but that's a really good option for me. And I might swim in the mix there, or do any sport for that matter.
Any future plans for you?
I'm actually not going straight to college. This past July, I enlisted in the United States Army as a combat medic. I'm trying to get airborne in my contract also. But while I'm in there, I'll be getting a degree, probably in biology.
That's awesome. Okay, thank you both for talking to me about your 1,000 points, about districts, about everything coming up, and now we're gonna give it to Paul.
Thank you, Maggie. I'm here with sophomore Tony Goulstone and junior Marina O'Hara. Both are recipients of 1,000 points. Tony, how did you feel when you received 1,000 points?
So as a sophomore, I realized that it's a little young, it's a little early off to get 1,000 points. And as of last season, people were starting to put the idea into my head that it was a reasonable goal. So, I thought coming into the season, yeah, I could do it. But actually hitting that 1,000 points, it was a surreal experience. It was just a lot of emotions flowing at once. I remember I finished that race and I was like, wow, like I really just did that. It was really cool.
Are your goals now set on reaching 2,000 points like myself?
Definitely. By my senior year, I definitely want to hit 2,000 points, and I don't know, I'll see where I go, but my goal by the end of high school would be to get the most that anybody's ever got on the team. So.
Well, you're certainly on pace. Marina, how did you feel when you hit 1,000 points?
Well, it's something I always wanted to accomplish, and like my sister went through the program, and I've seen a bunch of other swimmers hit that milestone, and it really felt amazing that I could do it too. And I wanted to set the bar high.
Do you have any sister rivalry with swimming?
A little bit, yeah.
So I want to ask both of you another question. If you weren't doing swimming right now, what do you think you'd be doing with your time?
If I wasn't doing swimming right now, I'd probably pick up golf. I really like to play golf. Like, I know a few of my friends who are freshmen on the team this year, they introduced me to it last year. It was a lot of fun, but since I also do water polo and golf is a fall sport, I can't really do both of them. So yeah, definitely either water polo or golf.
And Marina, what would you be doing if you weren't doing swimming right now?
Well, I would probably be training for like one of my other sports like track or water polo, because I get kind of like, like I need to do something.
You like variety?
Yeah, I like to do something. When I'm not doing a sport, I get bored.
All right, well, thank you for answering my questions. and good luck on your seasons.
Did you learn anything about your teammates today that maybe you didn't know, or did you kind of know everything that was going to be happening?
Brandon, I feel like shocked me most out of between the two of them. Me and Alyssa are very close. She's one of my best girlfriends on the team, so a few of those answers I was hopefully expecting to get out of her, but Brandon, just the way that he said how he's done so many sports before and this one really stuck out to him, that just means a lot to, I'm sure, not only me, but to a lot of people here, because he's picked up so many sports along the way. I've known Brandon for a long time, and he's just naturally athletic, so for him to come swim and then stick here, that shocked me.
I'm feeling so much better and inspired by the Cougars and Lady Cougars, both their on-air performances and their performances in the pool, so I thank them so much.
That's the show. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, head to ssptv.com to check out past episodes. If you didn't, give us another chance next time. I had fun. Again, thanks for your time, and take it easy.